All right, I'm back. A little afternoon session here. I've been looking at parts and asked a question on the Kijimi build forum and things, and verified a few things. So we should be ready to go now. At least for parts of this. I don't know. I'm going slow. I keep making mistakes. I'm trying not to do that. Hopefully, this will go smooth. I'm praying that this thing starts up right once I'm done with all of this. All right. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the build table. Be right back. Switch cameras. All right. So, okay. So what I was doing was figuring out a few things. So recap, the LEDs are in. Two of these on the bottom are a little in further than the others. It kind of annoys me. I may redo them. I don't know. But what the main thing that's left now is the OLED display. I did verify on the build forum that my pinout was correct. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but I'm trying to get this to focus. I'm not sure if it actually will or not. There, that might do it, but that's what the pinout should be. It should basically have VCC should be on the the far right, and then ground. Some of the displays will have the VCC in the second position from the right and the ground on the far right, or some other order. But yours should be from right to left, VCC, ground, and then, boy, I can't, my eyes are bad. And then I think it's SCO and then SDA. So there you go. VCC from the right, and then ground next to the left, one position to the left of right. And that's looking at the front of the faceboard, not the reverse side. If it was the reverse side, VCC is on the far left, and then ground is in the next position to the right from the far left if you have the board flipped over where you're going to solder. Okay, it gets confusing, right? Orientations. I was also asking about the acrylic plates and whether I should use standoffs. I've seen pictures with people. Some people use standoffs. On the build forum, they said just don't worry about standoffs or anything, and that's kind of what I was feeling. I just kind of messed with the front plate, and it actually kind of press fits into the faceplate. At least mine does. So it feels like if I press it in there, it's not going to go anywhere. So I don't think I'm going to worry about tape or glue or anything. I'm just going to press fit that in there and then take the tape off front. I think what I am going to start with first is just putting in 4 Mel header pins into this board that then I can adjust up and down. I think I tested in there long enough. Hope they are. To reach through the board to then press up to the faceplate. I think those are going to be fine. So the other part of this was I was just trying to figure out some other things. I found the front switch that's in that faceplate, but there's no. I think you're just going to wire on maybe one of the main wires or something because it's power. But I did notice that my 1/4-inch headphone jack was missing from my SynthCube kit. Now, I bought this back in 2019, so I'm sure it's like a version 1 kit or what have you, but it's not there. So I wrote them, and I'll see if they'll actually still honor that at this point and send me one. If not, I might have one kicking, but I don't think I do. That it just sucks. I'd have to buy one somewhere, Like, I hate to order Mauser or something and pay $8 or $9 in shipping for one. Maybe I can find it on Amazon or something and throw it in with some other stuff. I don't know. At any rate, there's that point. The other parts that I was kind of confused by were all of the standoffs and the screws and things included in the package. So I think I have this right. I found some 6mm. I don't know if that. Yep, there. 6mm standoffs that have the Mel threads on one end, and there's 12 of them. and then there's some nylon spacers, kind of see-through translucent spacers that look to be about, I don't know, 1/16 or more of thickness. And I believe those are what I'm going to use in between this faceplate and this hardware board. And then there I found some, again, 12 of these standoffs that are just female to female, and these are 12 millimeters long. Just female, 12 millimeters. And this is the SynthCube package. And I think that's what screws into the back of the male component off the hardware, and then that's what will mount the, I don't know what that's called, I guess the main board, or what I would call the motherboard that has the main processor on it with the voice card slots. I think that's going to screw on there. And the only thing I could figure out is there's 28 of these, but they're the tiny, they're black. They're screws that look like they will be to screw in to the main motherboard to the other side of the female. But because that's the only thing, there's a lot of them, and because I know I need 12 for the front faceplate to secure that, and it's actually 12 but -1, because I guess I'm supposed to leave this middle one here, that one, open. It was on the DSL Man website because I guess it grounds with something. It hits one of the other components, I guess, on the motherboard or something. So there you go. So I'm going to leave that one on. It would actually be 11 of those. And I'm going to approach it that way. I'm not really sure if this is correct. The other things that I found were these. Now, I did find 6 larger black ones that look like they're for the sides. There's 3 down the right and 3 down the left of the faceplate, and I believe that's to secure the faceplate to the main back enclosure. They're a little larger. For some reason, they came with, there were 6 other ones that came with another component that I don't remember what it was, and I think those are duplicates. I think I got extra somehow. But the other screws, there are these mounting, these like L brackets that are to mount the 4 edges of the voice cards. I figured that out, and it looks like those have screws. There's 8 screws for those, 4 for the bottom of the L, and then I think 4 to go through each face card. There are 2 mounting holes, but it looks like you're only supposed to use 1. And then there, the bottom here. Maybe I should just show you the bottom of these L brackets. The short side here are threaded, and it looks like those will just go through the bottom of the motherboard, and they don't need a nut because it's threaded in there. And you just screw that on, and it'll tighten up to the bottom of the board. And then the one that goes through the voice card, it looks like, I guess it's going to need a screw. I'm not sure. There's 4 nuts here as well, and they are 16/32, and the screws are 16/32. So I think I need those for something. I'm not sure what exactly yet, but it could be for the top of these, and I'm lying. I don't know. The other thing that's a bit confusing are these. These are 20 millimeter standoffs, and there are 14 that have a male end, and then there's just 2 that are female, but they're also 20 millimeter. I believe these are the spacers between the voice cards, because that's the only thing I can imagine they are. So I think those are them, but I don't know why there's 2 females, and maybe it's for how when it comes to the end, you only need females, and then we're going to use those screws or something. I don't know. I'm assuming that will all sort itself out later. So I'm going to just kind of put those all to the side. I don't think we need those right now, but I kind of sketched that out because I think this is how this has to flow. I'm not exactly sure, but we'll find out. So I think first order of business is I'm going to solder I'm going to turn on my iron here while we're waiting. I think we're going to solder the header pins, the metal header pins to the OLED, take off the papers, press fit the acrylic piece into the front plate, and then put the OLED onto the PCB, and then put the face plate on, and then start to put the buttons back in because those will need to go. Because I think we're essentially finished at that point. And then I guess what I'll do is I'll be putting these standoffs before I put the faceplate on. I'm going to do the standoff with this acrylic spacer to the face of the board here, like that. So it's going to be the PCB of the hardware board, and then it's going to be the acrylic spacer, and then it's going to be the little, I think those 6mm spacers on top, and then I'm going to put the face plate. And then put all the buttons in. If everything's kind of aligning and looks good, at that point, I think I would probably push the OLED, like flip it and let it go down flush with the faceplate, and then probably I could tack at least one or more of those in and get the OLED in, and then maybe just finish up soldering the buttons. I don't know. That's what I'm considering. I'm a little reluctant because I know like I said, I messed up the spacings the first time. So once I have this on here, it may be quite difficult to pull back off. So I'm kind of in a hard place here. I think I might just go for it. I don't know. So maybe before I do that, what I'll do is try to just kind of clean this off a little bit. The face, it is kind of dusty. Just take my blower and blow it off, try to get it clean, and then go from there. So I'm going to mute this while I clean it because it's going to be loud. All right, that's done. So I guess now I'm going to go ahead and do this faceplate. Stick this over here. Oh boy, there's no room in here. Kick on the fan. All right, that went well. I think what we'll do now, did I do that right? Did I do this backwards? Don't tell me I did this backwards. No, I did it correctly. Yes, I did. Correcto. Okay. So what do I want to do? I'm going to pull this thing back over here. Stick this here. I guess what we need to do is put this guy in. Maybe I should just really make sure my hands are nice and dry. They kind of are. It's winter time. And I'm going to press this guy in first. I think what I'm going to do is just start these and then put them in with the edges peeled, so it's not hard to get off once I have it in there. There. Those are kind of starting to peel off, but they're not gone. Yeah, boy, that press fits in there really nice. It looks like they machined this like on a mill. Okay, great. And then maybe what I can do, oh no, getting a little crud. We don't want that. Hold on, let me get that off. The edge is kind of hairy and has some junk on it that we don't want in there. Gonna have to just clean it later. Just try not to touch it as much as possible, but that front was kind of hairy. Oh no, okay. So it was the tape. The tape was getting caught in the edge. It is kind of loose. It just falls right out. So, I thought that was going to work better. So we're going to have something to hold that in there. I don't know if it's just the faceplate pushing on it. It could be that. Or if we're going to have to actually use some kind of glue or tape or something. I'm kind of inclined to just use tape. Hate using epoxies and all that kind of junk. Yeah, I think I'm going to use some kind of tape on here. What do we have? What can I use? Look around here. Have to have some, maybe I'll just use some Scotch tape. Do I have any? I know I do. The question is where. Okay, hold on a sec. I'll be right. All right, so I did find some of this double-sided tape, and I think what I'm going to do is use a X-Acto knife and just slice these kind of thin and just put it along all four edges. And I have a feeling that's going to work out quite nice. So maybe what I'll do is use some scissors, or where the heck did I put my X-Acto knife? I know it's around here. I cleaned everything up and hid it from myself. Here it is. Okay, so let's check that out. See what we can do here. It says push to open, but doesn't look like there's really any easy way to get the actual tape out of there. That's so weird. What a dumb system. Alright, so I'm gonna have to just rip this open. What we want is this split down the middle, really. Let's try that. It'll go a little bit longer. That should be good. Slice those off. And now I think we have enough to do this. Trying to touch it kind of as little as possible here. There we go. That's the short side. There we go. Okay. Now let's see if we can get this backing. Here, wait, maybe we'll do it this way. Stick these on here and then try to get the backings off. That sounds smart? Not sure. Boy, I can't see a thing. Need my head thing. Hold on a second. Thought I heard feedback. So what happens is this is not two-sided. Oh no, it is. It's only like that for a little bit. Huh. I can't seem to get these off though. Can't separate this from the backing. If I can't, maybe what I can do is just use ones that don't have the backing. That sucks. It's like super adhered to the backing. I can't seem to separate it. Okay, let's ditch these and get to the point where there is no backing, and then we'll cut more. I thought I might have seen a chat message. What's it say? Yeah. Oh, the blue putty. Yeah, I hear somebody said there's blue putty. Yep, I have that. Like, I have the white kind, the sticker stuff that you use to hang posters and stuff. But that stuff, I've noticed the downside to it is it changes with temperature. As it gets colder, that stuff will get kind of hard and less pliable, and my posters will fall off the wall. But then in the summer, it turns into like molten putty, and sometimes it will cause problems there. So there, I just ditched the backing of this stuff. This stuff works well. I've used this for other stuff. It's kind of a really nice double-sided tape. But now it's just getting the end started again. I find that a lot of these projects come down to things like this. Like, the hard stuff doesn't actually take that long, and then tiny details, the tiny annoying details like this are what ends up like eating half of your day up. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I do a bad job. But I always find that these kinds of things are what trip me up in the end. Okay, so I got this started there. I kind of mutilated some of it, of course, and get rid of that. Okay, good. And now I think what I'm going to do is just measure out a piece of this, stick it to this board, and then we're going to restick it. Not really sure how much I'll need. I'm going to try to take some extra just in case. Hopefully that's enough. Stick that over there. And then we can use these as measuring guides. Because these were a little extra, but just about right. Okay, there's that one. And I'll slice it down the center-ish. And then, that was a bad cut. And then, there's the smaller one. Something like that. And then I'll also slice this one down the center-ish. That one was a little better than the others. And now let's see if I can actually get this off of here and put it on the thing. Okay. My center cuts are messy, so I'm using the straight outside edges for the actual piece. Okay, there, that looks good. It's on there decently. Let's get the other one going. Okay. That one also not too bad. Let's get these last two. Again, use the nice straight. Can't screw this one up. Okay, there. Yep, that went well. And then one more piece. If I can get it off. Okay. Okay. There, that worked pretty well. Got some tape around the edges. Let's get this thing in there. Definitely gonna have to clean this again. Okay. That went on pretty well. That went well. I don't know how permanent that'll be, but we'll see. Yeah, went well. Now, let's see if we can... let me grab a piece of tissue in here, and we can see if we can clean this thing up a little bit. Okay. Not bad. A little bit. Maybe a little scratches here or there. I don't think anyone will notice. Okay, so done with the faceplate. Now, I am going to I'm going to take the little cover off the LED here, OLED. And I'm going to stick that in here now too. And then we're going to put our faceplate on. Okay. Okay, those all look great. Those are on. There. Now, what do I got to do? Oh, I messed up. I think I'm going to try these standoffs. I'm going to try putting these on here. I got to get rid of this thing. It's killing me. I am going to try the standoffs here. So we'll see how this goes now. So I'm doing a standoff and a nylon thing here. Put that in there. I got to remember not to put the center one in because it grounds with something. So I'm just going to stick all these on here. And I think we're going to be close. Okay, good. Now that center one, boy, I better make sure which one's which. I think it's the one on the left side, but I can't remember for sure. Let's look. I'm going to come back to this camera. Just leaving the mic over there. You might hear me a little bit more remote. I am not going to show you my Facebook page, but I'm going to log into the Kijimi build group here. And let's see. I'm almost sure, or no, this is the DSL man thing, isn't it? DSL man Kijimi. Yeah, I think that's what this is. Yeah. Where is it at? Okay, here it is. So I can show you this. So where am I at? CRG9, no, this one. Okay, so I think it's here. It's saying the metal spacer is a problem. And I think it is this one, right? That's the one on the left side. Yes, left middle. Okay, correct. Yep, that's it. So we just got to remember not to put one there. Okay, so that's that. We got it. We'll go back to this camera. Okay. So let me see here. So that's this one. I just got to remember that. Make sure. Okay. There, done. I was just reading or saw on Facebook, I was skimming through some of the topics to kind of refresh myself. And I saw this guy's video where he was testing his main power board and none of the LEDs lit up. And I guess he said it looked like in the end that he burned out his LEDs because he had them reversed. And he assumed that negative went to the square peg or the square mask on the boards. And I might have done the same thing. So now I'm kind of concerned that I have to go back and look at my my main board and maybe do some testing before I plug that thing in, because he definitely fried his LEDs because they were in the incorrect orientation. And I have no idea now, after like a year or more, what mine actually was. Okay, so I left that one out. I'm gonna go ahead. How am I gonna do this? I should have done this before. Hopefully these won't all fall out. Maybe I'll just do it one at a time. I'm gonna screw. Now these are the, what are these? 12 millimeter female to female ones onto the back. I think, almost sure, I think this is correct, but I don't really know. Because I haven't like sandwiched this together at all. It kind of looks like the spacing, and from looking at the other components, I just really can't imagine what else these would be for and how this would work, but you know, I have no idea what I'm doing here. So it is possible to be wrong. But I hope I'm not. Okay, those all went on. Kind of just hand tightening them for now. Don't really need to go crazy yet. You know, that's something I would like to ask on the Kijimi build forum, is how many people built one of these and kind of just plugged it in and it worked, versus the people that had you know, shorts or incorrect problems. I wonder what the percentage is. I mean, I'm just really curious. I mean, obviously on the forum, you're probably going to hear from a lot of people who had troubles, because they're going to go to the forum as soon as they have trouble. But I'm just curious if there were a lot of people that just, and by a lot, I mean a handful, that just had these things work when they plugged it in. I don't know. Because, you know, who knows? So I'm praying that I don't have too many of these phantom issues like other people, because I am not a super accomplished electronics person. So if I have a lot of problems, I'm really a novice at like running test points and all this stuff. I'm gonna need like help. It seems like a lot of people on the forum are very familiar with that kind of routine and have done things like that before. Probably why they were brave enough to spend as much as they did, like I foolishly did. But hopefully I won't have too many issues. We'll see. Okay, so I kind of got those hand tight on there. Yeah, those look pretty good. I think what we want to do now is put the faceplate on. So maybe I'll show you this real quick. I put all of those on there. It's rattling around there. One of these is loose or something. Yeah, something's loose. What's that? Oh, it's my LED. OLED. Okay. There, you can kind of see the standoffs, the female standoffs on this side. And those are the 12s, and the 6 millimeter with the nylon ring there is on the front. Okay. And then I have one extra from that middle point that I didn't use. So let's put this on now and see how this is going to work, if it fits. Okay. Those all went on well. There we go. Now, the OLED looks pretty good in there. It's hard to tell, really. I'm going to just go ahead and kind of flip this over now. And I want to see where it kind of falls. Yeah, okay, good. It kind of just falls down there, so hopefully if... Man, it's hard to tell. It is a bit like crooked. I don't know if that's a huge issue or what. I mean, because it is going to kind of tend to go a little bit crooked, but because of the things. But I don't think that's a huge issue. It's hard to tell. The alignment looks pretty good, but I don't know. Maybe I should power this thing up or something. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to go. I'm reluctant to solder that in without... I guess I have to just kind of align it visually and then power it up. I think it's going to be okay. I don't know. So, we'll see. I mean, it looks good, the alignment, but without the LED screen on, it's quite difficult to tell what's going on. But I think what we want to do is just let that lay and solder it in there, and it's going to be pretty good. But before we do any of that, I also need to, I think maybe what I'll do to tack this on here, boy, those are, that seems so close. I wonder if we can put this encoder thing on here to tack this on. And then maybe we could put some of these screws on here and see how that's looking as well. Is that even gonna attach? It seems like the threads are like barely showing. I don't even know if that's gonna be possible actually. To put this encoder, what do I wanna say? Spacer and, boy, I can't even get it off now. I don't know if that's going to be possible. It's really tough to see. Yeah, I don't think that's going anywhere. I don't think there's even enough threads to get that. So I think those are spare parts. Because the threads are almost completely recessed. So those are going to be some spare parts. As well as this. The nylon spacer and the 6mm standoff. So these are spares. As well, I guess, as this 12mm standoff. I don't know, maybe we'll be able to attach it from the other side somehow. I don't know. But I guess now what we could do is try putting some of these in. I guess I have to do the buttons now too. So I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to grab the buttons a little bit at a time and start putting those in. See how this goes. So, okay, grab the first 3 buttons. And we'll see if these fit properly. They do. Great. Well, at least the first one. What was happening before with one of these is that the edge of the faceplate was depressing one of the buttons, so like they would stay on or things like that. That's what we don't want to happen. And since I've desoldered them and resoldered and all that, I think I've solved those issues. But we will. This is kind of like the final test now, I guess, to see if that really is the case. But these are really tricky to get back in here after the fact. But it has to be this way now because of my initial faceplate screw up. They will fit in here because I have done this once before. It just takes some finagling. But they will all align properly eventually. This may take me a little while. Okay, that one's giving me some troubles. Come back to it. As well, now I need to go back and definitely study the schematics or just a picture of the kijimi and make sure I'm actually getting all these buttons in the right ones. I mean, some of them are kind of hard to screw up because if they have only one LED, they're only going to have one, you know, the holes have to be exact to match. But it will be a little bit tricky to tell. This one is giving me issues for something's hanging up here. I think it's just one of the, you know, lead pins is just a little, maybe there's some extra solder still there, or I bent one just slightly this way. Yep, this one's a little bit bent. Maybe if I bend that back, it will line up better. There we go. Okay. Okay, those are all in there. Seem to be fine. I think this is actually going to work out fine. Oh, thank God I was able to, that the pots were close enough tolerance. But, you know, I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch or what have you. I'm going to make sure I can get all these in here right. I mean, who knows, maybe putting in the LEDs shifted something slightly, you never know. This stuff, it's so confusing. I mean, the devil's in the details. There's so many ways that these things can go wrong, really. I mean, I guess when you're just doing like thousands of connections like this, you know, it's highly likely that at some point you're going to make a mistake and reverse something or what have you. I wish I was a better, I wish I was a more skilled electronics technician and could really know. I don't really know. I mean, people have said like, oh, you should, you know, solder this or that connection and test as you go and all these things, but I don't really know how to do that. And I think it would take me a huge amount of time to even figure out what they're talking about, really. So, which may, you know, end up biting me. I've resigned myself to the fact that I might plug this stuff in at the end and fry a main circuit board or some major component that renders my unit complete trash or something. And if that happens, yeah, I'll probably cry off cam, but but I also won't be, you know, super surprised either. And you know what? That's just the way it goes. Ooh, that's a little tight. I can't tell. It seemed like it was actually in there, but I don't want to seem more stuck than in. I think it's in there. It was just tight. Boy, I hear the gate opening and closing quite a lot on this. I'm going to turn it up. Hold on a second. Where I'm on this mic. Yeah, and I want to work on the gate, and I want to increase that gate. How do I? What this did it? Oh no, I'm going to turn it there. Like that. Let's see, dude. Hello, hello. Yeah, maybe that threshold is good. Okay. Yeah, we're going to go with that. I kept hearing the gate just opening and closing. It's noisy enough in here that it was just kind of like breaching the gate and just getting fuzz every 5 seconds. That stuff drives me nuts. Okay, last two rows. Hopefully these, as I remember, I think this top row is the tightest, so I'm gonna hold my breath and say a little prayer here. They all feel great so far. Yeah, good. Again, if anyone is writing in chat, I can't tell anymore if there's new chats or not, but if you are, the reason I'm not answering is because I can't really see chat over here. Sitting at the workbench, and my screen is on the opposite side of the room to my back. So I can't really tell what's going on. Oh, these feel good. Okay, great. Hopefully soldering and then resoldering these, I haven't, like, you know, overheated anything or screwed up a button, you know, connection or something with too much heat. I have done that kind of stuff on other projects, unfortunately. This one feels a little, I don't know. I mean, it's pushing just fine, but it feels like it's not quite in. I guess it is. Oh, there we go. That one finally, I got it on a right angle and I could tell it like seated down in there properly. I'm really hoping that this is all great, because if I have to take this faceplate off, could be kind of a bear getting it back on here. I think it would just be really, it could potentially be very tight. But as of right now, those all feel delightful. That one too. Gonna give them all a nice little push here. Make sure they're seated down on there. Yeah. Oh, these are gonna, it actually ended up working out lovely. Okay, great. I got lucky. Well, lucky-ish. I had to bust my ass to save this. Okay, so that's on there. Those are all on. I think what I'm going to do now is put these screws on the faceplate to hold it on. And then I'm going to flip over and very carefully start doing the soldering from the back. Because at this point, it seems like we've reached our what do I want to say? I guess our conclusion or what have you. I think these are working. So let's see. These look like smaller than. Oh, these are like, this is a plus. I thought these were hex. Doesn't appear that these are. These are a small. Let's try this. Seems just about perfect. This will be a good just test run, even if this doesn't work exactly like I want. Boy, I can't tell if that's catching or not. Yeah, it is. Okay. I'm going to leave those like only halfway in. So if there's a little tolerance issues, maybe we can sort that out along the way. Maybe I'll do a top one too. See if we get any kind of, okay, that one went in pretty well. Pretty easily. So did that one. Great. And I can feel a little tension, but not bad. Okay, that one went well. Yeah, I'll do a center one. Okay, yeah, this one's a little tighter, but but it's going in fine. No worries. Let's try another one up here. Yeah, that one went in like butter. Okay, that middle one we don't do again because there's no, guess it. Okay, they're all going in fine. All right. So let's see. This one, I had to kind of finesse the front plate a little bit. This one feels a little tight. It's a little tighter on this side, but not bad at all. Nothing to complain about. That went in like butter. Is that all of them? 1, 2, 3. This one. Yeah, this is the last one. Okay, good. So I just kind of loosely put those on there. There we go. Faceplate is there. The LED display is in there. All right, I guess I'm going to just tighten these down now, all the way. And we're going to take a look at this and kind of see where we're at. I am going to kind of do them, I don't know, off, on like tangents or triangles or whatever. Why I always tighten and loosen things that way. Guess it doesn't bind. Yep, this one on the far left, a little tighter. Definitely have to give this one a little oomph, but it is okay. Yeah, no big worry there. But it was a little tighter. So is this one. These two bottom left ones are a little tighter. Everything else has been very loose-ish, or just no problem, but those bottom two left ones. I think it's probably, again, the nature of me messing up when I did the pots with the faceplate the first time and the buttons. I think the pot is a little close on one of those. Hopefully that's not any kind of issue or any kind of binding or anything later. I don't think so. Didn't feel that tight either. I gave it a little oomph, but it wasn't nothing major. Okay. Okay, that's it. I think they are all, oh no, one in the middle here is not tight. Okay, there, done. Good, that feels good. It looks good too. All right, so now how do we do these buttons without them falling out? I guess I'm gonna have to, I mean, I could put them in the soldering guide here. Maybe I'll try that and see if it will fit with everything. But if we did that, that would kind of, if it will reach over the pots, which I think it kind of will, that would give us kind of a seal that would then kind of compress those on there. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to try here. Let's see. I haven't used this thing in a while either. I don't really remember. I remember there's like kind of a release here. There. I don't really know how I did that, but I did it. And then we are going to, how does this work? put this thing in here like this. The faceplate. I don't know if this is on cam. I'll have to move this over, but this did make the soldering go so much faster, and I will definitely do this with the voice boards as well. Use this thing. I don't think you can see it very well, but you can see it on the corner here. But this basically holds your boards in place while you solder. What I'm going to do is hopefully it will hold these buttons firmly in position. So when I flip it over, they stay compressed into their spots, so I don't have to worry about them, slipping out as I solder, anything like that. Now, before I solder these or do any of this, what else do I need to do? I think I'm going to take a quick look at the kijimi on the internet. And here, let's go to the CRG. I was one. And let's just take a look at the front board and make sure mine black. Yeah, that. And then two of those single dots, black, Single dots up there. Yeah, single LEDs. Oh, two LEDs. Two LEDs. And then those are all two LEDs. Correct. Okay, I think I have the buttons in the correct spots. Great. Let's come back to the main cam over there. Let's stick this thing on now. Let's see if we can get this going. Yeah, that's how it goes. You slide that in there, and then I remember tightening these things down. And what this should do is compress that foam over the buttons. The pots are there, so I'm going to kind of do it a little harder here because the foam has to squeeze between the pots to get to the buttons, so hopefully they'll kind of do that. I'm going to have to kind of jiggle the buttons on the other side. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to tighten this thing all the way down and hope it's enough pressure to do it. And then we flop this thing. Oh boy, we do it like this. I have a bunch of junk under here. I don't know if that's going to work out well. Throw these things out. There's soldering stands and things. Okay, get that out of the way. Yeah, flip this over. There. Now, I wonder if these are okay. How am I going to know? I'm going to pray and go for it? I don't know. And then I also have to check this guy. I think what we want to do is just let it sit like that and tack it in place. Boy, it's so hard to know if that's okay or not. I think what I'm going to do is tack one and maybe flip it and check it. I think that is the prudent decision. And then before I do any of this, I think I'm going to just take a look at this thing. Okay, so what do I have? I have the motherboard, which they call the MB. I don't know, main board, motherboard, I don't know what you want to call it. But there we go. And then this guy is supposed to press fit into that connection. Yeah, I see why they didn't do that one, because there definitely is no hole there. And it would ground out on the voice card pins. Why we ditched that one. It looks like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Is there 12 mounting holes? No, those look wrong. Those are for the standoff thing. So those 4 are not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which is correct. Okay. Oh boy, that's super hard to see if you're like actually in the right spot or not. To get those pins in there. That is extremely difficult. I wonder if I should. Wow. Okay, so this looks correct though. Anything touching? No. I think this is correct. Now, the only other issue is I don't have all the ICs plugged in back here. I am going to have to do that. That's a bit tricky since I've already soldered in the holders. I got to refresh myself on what actual ones those are. But the ICs are missing from the board back here. We're not going to do this anyway yet, but I just wanted to make sure that all looked okay, and it does. I think there's going to be plenty of room, clearance room with the ICs plugged in. It seems like there will be. And I think I will also need to attach the L bracket stand-ups before I put this on, obviously, because I think those nuts, if I need nuts, would be on the other side. If not, just the screw heads would be down there. Okay, so that looks correct. Okay, good. Well, that's something good. Now, should I go ahead and tack these buttons? I think I am, and I think what I'm going to do is move this whole soldering stand over to this position so it's a little better for Cam and better for me. I'll clean up my junk here. Get those out of the way, this out of the way. Okay, so I think we can move this thing over now. May need to slide these out of the way, get rid of these screws. Those pieces. And our double-sided tape. Just back in its... Okay. And we're going to move this thing over. All right. There we go. So, a little hard for you to see from your perspective, I guess, but you can get an idea of what I'm doing here. I am going to need the head thing here. Okay, so I think what I need to do, I'm afraid to do that too. What I was going to say is I think what I need to do is use pliers. Yeah, some of these are loose. I can feel it. You can see they're not flush with the... they're just not flush. This one is, I can see. I think it's because there's no pots here. But some of the ones with pots are falling down. So that's a problem. Okay, I can see I started to unsolder some of my pots as well when I first had this issue. So I think one of the things I'm going to do right now is go ahead and resolder the pots on there. And then once those are, at least those edges are soldered on, I will go ahead and approach these buttons. Yeah, because there's no way I'm taking the pots all the way off now. I'm kind of in a pickle here with this. but I'm going to have to do weird stuff and just cross my fingers on some of these. Some of them I can kind of tell because you can see the little black spacers or what have you, the little black pins that stick through. Those look aligned and flush, and I'm going to assume the ones that are flush are okay. There are some that are not flush, so I can tell that they are falling and they're out of position, and I will have to go back for some of those. Yeah, that's the way it's going to be. Some of these I may do and some I may not. For now, I'm going to start with the pots and do some of those. Again, these are just the pots that I had originally started unsoldering because I thought I had to take everything apart. And then I figured out I didn't. I should say as well that I am using lead-free solder, which makes this a bit more challenging. Or so I've heard a lot of, talk. I mean, I've used leaded solder as well, so yeah, it is. It is a bit more challenging, but I definitely do like not using lead and not getting it in my own system, but then also kind of environmentally not, when this thing does eventually, hopefully never, but does eventually become e-waste. I really don't like the idea of lead going into landfill, although I'm sure I would faint if I saw how much lead was in landfills. Kind of trying to bust these out quickly. I have noticed that this Hakko iron, it's not the best. It's not terrible, but you definitely, like, the temperature's kind of hard to maintain, and I have to kind of keep, once I get that tip heated, I don't want to stop. I usually want to, like, quickly try to bust it out because the temperature on the tip will take a dive, and then it becomes considerably harder to get it back up to temperature. And then it seems like I'm probably overheating joints. I also think it's a factor of the lead-free solder. I think takes obviously a little. Sometimes it takes more temperature to get this to melt and become kind of nice and flowy. So it's also a factor of that. I'm praying that I'm not, like, skunking any of these components since I desoldered and now I'm resoldering. You know, like introducing double the heat mass to it or whatever over time, maybe, or now it's a little crusty or what have you. I don't know. I will say, I know you can't see this, but I will say that these solders look quite nice. They do not look crusty or nasty. They look very clean. And I have gotten really efficient at soldering over the past few years. I mean, I've watched, there's levels. I've watched, you know, like all these channels where they do like certification solders, and they, you know, kind of like measure the angle that it climbs up to post and all that stuff. I'm definitely not a pro level industry sanctioned solderer, but I think not bad at all the same. Okay, these are pots as well. I'm going to go ahead and do these again. God, wish that fan was a little... My workbench is kind of congested, and fan is not really doing it. I hope these are pots, actually. Yeah, they are. I see I took the anchors out. And I'm going to go ahead and put those back in. Good enough. Oh, thought I heard a beep. Did I hear a beep? I think so. Somebody's writing something. Let's see what chat's saying. Let's see. Let me come back to this camera. Let's see. What's the question here? The question is, boy. Yeah, a legit build guide would be amazing. Like, just for me, like all these little things with the standoffs and stuff, it's kind of maddening. I really hope this is adding some value for you watching this, and for whoever else ends up finding this, because this is the stuff for me. I'm always just trying to read between the lines. It's tough. I mean, I've done a lot of builds, so I can kind of figure it out. At least I think I'm figuring it out. But it really would be super valuable to have a legit, like, step-by-step build guide. That's why I wanted to try to stream as much as this as I can. So people can really, you know, kind of see the problems I'm having or what I've done, and it at least fills in some of the gaps. But yeah, I agree. Entry-level camera and mic, I'd recommend. Here, you know what? Let me do this too. I'm gonna just unmute both of these. Okay. The question is, what's an entry-level mic? Camera and mic you'd recommend for streaming, recording the stuff overhead. I'd like to record my builds as well. Yeah, You can see like the camera right behind me. I do have these kinds of arm systems. That's actually for underwater gear. I used to do a lot of scuba diving, and so I just repurposed those. They have O-rings in them, so when you tighten them down, they kind of stay put. But that's what I used to use for scuba. But you can kind of reposition those, and you can't see it, but off to my right here is a camera. And I have this one on this desk, so if I pull this over, I can shoot straight down on the desk. And I was doing soldering over here, but just managing all this gear is tough. So I have it over there. I don't have it set up right overhead right now. I usually also stick my iPhone, and there's actually a great app for the iPhone. I can't remember exactly what it is, but if you look up like OBS iPhone app or something, you'll find it. And what it is you can convert your phone basically into a webcam. And I found that really helpful because I have an old iPhone like 4S here. The camera's crappy now, but I use it as a webcam. And then I use my newer iPhone as a webcam as well. And yesterday I did have it set up behind me. Maybe if that's valuable, I could do that now. I'll set it up and kind of shoot down on my setup there, so you can see what's going on. So you could just use an iPhone with an app, and you just run a USB cable. I ran a long cable to it to run it that way. But I did end up the two main cameras. The camera I'm looking at now is a Sony mirrorless camera, and I think it's an A5100. I don't think they make them now. I think it's like 62 or 6300 is the next level up they're still making. At least it was. But they're quite expensive. I think I got mine a year or two ago at some like killer Black Friday sale where, I think they were normally $500 or $600, and I got mine for maybe like 300 or something like that. And I got two of them because I knew I was going to be doing a lot of streaming from multiple angles. But it's pricey. That's super pricey. A lot of people just use like a Logitech webcam, like a I don't know, 920. I don't know what they are. Just like the standard webcams. Those work too. But I would recommend picking up like a decent mic. These are Audio Technica, like condenser mics. You can get expensive ones that are $400 or $500, down to like $100, $200. Some of them have a straight to USB, so you don't need all the mic cables, and you can just plug it into your computer, and that works as well. But I think the main thing is having some kind of tripod and an arm system that you can kind of get over. I would look online, like everyone's doing this kind of stuff now. So if you look at like, streaming camera, overhead camera, tripod, you'll find something. But there are a lot of people who do that kind of stuff. What's VOT? VOT, for my information. I don't know what that is. But yeah, anyway, back to the build, I guess. So I think what I'm gonna do is maybe I will do a little. Here, let me set up the cam for an overhead. That'll be fun. Hold on one second. Yeah, there we go. So I'm glad you mentioned that. It's a much better view. I had it set up the other day and just ditched it because I was doing other stuff, but that works well. So what I was doing was just soldering back in these pots. I had not the main just stability stays, but the 3 connection points. I resoldered those in. I am reluctant to solder in the buttons because some of them look like they're falling down. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do about this. I might try to like put a piece of tape over the front or just lay them flat down on the table or something. I thought this the foam thing would compress them, but I think the pots are in between them and it's still like the gap is in the foam, so they're falling down. So I don't think I'm going to do it this way. I'm just going to kind of visually check over again here. I'm going to ditch my headphones and just see. I'm trying to look and make sure I got all the pots, and then if I get all the pots, I think I'm going to switch back to doing all the buttons in a second here. I do think I did all of the buttons. I mean all of the pots. So I think now, boy, it's maddening. There's so many connections. But that looks good. I think we're back to square with the pots. They're all back in there now. I think I am going to flip this back over. And we're going to approach this a different way for the buttons, because the foam just isn't holding it like I thought it would. It looked like it held some of them, but you can't. There's no way to inspect the front this way, so I don't want to start soldering them in and then find out that they're crooked, and I don't know. I'd just rather. At this point, I keep screwing everything up, so I want to take my time and really make sure I'm doing this properly. Okay, there. Got that off. This over there. Okay, there. That looks good. And then I can loosen these up. This rack is super pricey, but boy, does it help when you're just doing, like, when I switch back over to the voice boards. This is going to be a savior. It really does help a lot. Here, I'm going to stick this over here and come back in a second. And we're going to move this thing back out of the way. The cam. Oh boy. Okay. There we go. Now come back to this guy. Start looking again. Okay, so what do we got? The button. See, like this button was falling out. It's loose, which is okay. But I'm thinking I might want to just stick a piece of tape over each one of these to just hold them in place. Now I think that's what I'm going to do, just to make sure they don't shift. And then I'm going to go to the back side and tack one thing in place, flip it over, make sure it looks okay, and then go for the rest. Because just visually inspecting this, they're all working well, and all the pots are through and everything. You know what else I might do, just to double check, is pop open the bag here and put a couple of these on and make sure they seem like they're okay. I'm going to put that back to square and see if this fits on there right. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Boy, they're really tight. I don't know if I should have done that. Boy, that is super tight. Whew! Note to self, only do that at the very end. Jeez, a whiz. That was tough. Oh, I was wondering. These have detents in them to stop at 0. I thought it was something I did, but they actually have detents, so they want to stop right on 0 in the middle. The top ones do not, I don't think. Yeah, these all do. Okay, great. So there you go. Those look like they're fitting well and all that stuff. So I think we're on the right track. Okay. What's next? These buttons. Just trying to double check. I haven't done the screen yet. I haven't soldered that in. And I haven't soldered the buttons. And I think I'm like nervous here because this is where I got in trouble last time. But that's because we couldn't get the faceplate on. But I think we're okay. So I think what we need to do is get these guys on here. And I think, like I said, the tape is it. Trying to make sure they're all like kind of laying flat with each other. It's kind of difficult to. They're all just as slightly different levels or what have you. I think that's just the nature of these a bit. Okay. So now I need to find that actual Scotch tape. Good thing I found this as well, so we can use some of this. So how are we going to do this? Maybe I'll do it long ways. Just blanket the whole thing. And I think that's all we need is just to get it in there. Maybe I can just run a whole line here. Yeah, I think this is going to work well. Trying to think if I would have needed to do this if I did this right the first time. Probably not, but whatever the case, this seems like it's going to work well either way, so I don't really care as long as it works. Okay? This one has like a bit of a gap. I don't know if that's just yeah, it is kind of spacing. Just trying to see if I can get them to space out nicely. It's not really going to affect the functionality or anything, but it'll look nicer. Okay. Okay, good. I think those are okay. I think I am just gonna zing these things now, because I think everything is in there except for the LED, and then I'm gonna just do that one as well. Kind of pray that it aligns well. If it doesn't, I mean, it's 4 leads. It's not the end of the world if I had to redo it, but I don't, ideally you don't want to do that. Okay, so those are all in there. I think that still gives you a decent view. There, let's see. Yeah, not bad. Okay, so I am gonna go for this now and just zing the buttons in. It is good because I can see the black, like the little black feet on the back that are just kind of stabilizers or whatever, and you can kind of see if they're through correctly or not. This is a bit tougher with everything on here, but that's the way it's going to be because I screwed up. Okay, that's okay. Let me try to get this a little closer. Whew, smoke kills me. I don't know what's going on there. I gotta, it's kind of seized up on me. Jesus. That was nasty. It's way too much time on there. I'm really hoping I'm not screwing up some of these. It's bad because I am redoing these because I had to desolder these and then resolder. Trying to be as quick as I can, but so I would like to ask, um, if you're watching, are you building the kijimi yourself? Who was that? I missed your name. Sorry. It is, oh, Jimmy. Jimmy, are you building the kijimi? I'm curious if you're building it, where you're at in the process and all that stuff. I've done a bunch of other electronics projects, I mean kind of DIY stuff, but this is definitely the most kind of like large and challenging build I've done by myself. I will say that I'm looking forward to when this is actually done and I can just use the kijimi. And I pray that it actually does get done and I can use the kijimi, but I mean, that said, this is a fun challenge. Man, I don't know why this is just not like... Sometimes I feel like the Heiko thing, it struggles to deliver sometimes. It's not very consistent. It kind of goes up and down, and you kind of gotta finagle it. I mean, again, maybe that's also me running this, you know, non-leaded solder. I think that causes a lot of problems for myself, so to speak, but okay. That's the first row of buttons done. Maybe before I go on, what I'll do is I'll flip this one over, check these out. They'll look okay. That one's kind of ugly, but I think it is okay. And then I'll take this one off and make sure everything's okay. They all press fine as long as you know, none of them are damaged or anything like that. They should work just fine, I think. Oh, I see. These are the other foot pads. I didn't finish the top ones. I shouldn't have done that. But I think we're okay. Actually, are we? I mean, because I did already tack them in. I think we're okay. because the top ones are tacked. These posts are causing the most problems because they have kind of the most thermal mass. I'm trying to do the minimum time I can on them, but at the same time I have to get them, you know, hot enough that they're taking the solder well. Okay, there. That top row truly is done now. It's hard to get in there and not touch the IC mount. Have to go in at an angle. God damn. Yeah. Alright. Man, these posts are tough. They're really sucking up the heat, and then they just kind of die on you. There we go. Ooh. Shit. I got a little extra on this one, and I don't think it's connecting, but it looks like it could electrically connect to the one next to it. Trying to remelt it, but it's giving me troubles. I feel like what I'm doing right now is making it worse almost. There we go. I'm trying to refloat and get it out of there. Yep. Okay. See a little exposed copper there. I don't know if that, hopefully it's not the trace for the one next to it. May have to revisit that and make sure it's okay. Okay. Okay, one more row of feet, and then the second row is done. Come on. It's really difficult. Those feet kind of have a flat side, and it's tricky to catch it sometimes. I don't think these are doing anything electrically. I think these are just anchors. So as long as it's kind of anchored in there decently, I think we're okay. But it is a push button, so you don't want it to come loose over time either. Okay, good. Okay, row number 2 done. See how that's looking. Okay, they're all pushing well, so not bad. Okay. What am I going to do? Am I going to keep going at this? Getting kind of burnt out at this point. Yeah, I think I'm going to take a little break and revisit this. Yeah, all right, here. Switch back over here. And what I'm going to do is come back to our main camera. And what I am going to do is say, oh wait, I see some, did you write something else in here? Yeah, okay, it says, okay, I'm going to, but still waiting on all the parts and PCBs, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, experience levels, yeah. Yeah, I hope I'll get there. I'm close now. I mean, it's like I'm close enough to smell it, so I'd feel really bad if I gave up at this point. I'm going to be demoralized, though, if I plug something in and it just like fries a motherboard, or I plug it in and like all the VC, like nothing, like I've seen people get to the software stage and then they can't, calibrate the cards, and like two of them calibrate and three won't work. And, like if I get to those points, it's going to be super, or if I'm like, I've seen people, running test leads, like trying to go through every resistor and stuff to figure out where their problems are. I really hope that doesn't happen to me. I think I was pretty detail oriented when I went through it, but you just never know if you're making mistakes or not. But yeah, and to power it up. Yeah, how long will it be till I can power it up? That's a good question. I think I'm going to be conservative. I'm close now. Once I finish the solders on these buttons basically, and the OLED display, that front plate, the what do they call it, the hardware board or what have you, that's pretty much done. And then I can really kind of plug it into that motherboard, and that's all complete. So I basically, after I finish the solders on these buttons and the OLED, all of the boards will be assembled except for the voice cards. So I am close. So very close, right? I mean, so once I finish this, which I'm hoping either if I come on and stream a bit tonight, I don't know yet, maybe it's tomorrow morning, whatever it is, I'll finish off this full hardware one, and then I will, I think what I'm going to do is try to sandwich on that motherboard, and then those two will be kind of complete. Before I do all that though, that said, I think I am going to kind of trace over this. I probably should have on the front side before I sandwiched on the front plate. I didn't. But I am going to kind of just look over with the microscope maybe and clean up bits. Like I saw somebody online saying they had just like a little solder ball stuck somewhere that was grounding with something that caused untold problems, and they had to trace it all back, and then they found the little solder ball and picked it off, and then everything worked. So it's a nightmare. So I am going to kind of comb over the board and try to clean it up a bit on that back side at least, and pray I don't have any mistakes there. But then probably assemble that motherboard to the back, mount it up, and screw it on. And then really, then it's going to be, I'm going to spend probably a day or more practicing methods of soldering on the SOIC chips for the voice cards, the 8 SOIC chips. I don't know if you tuned in here, but I did have trouble with those for the version 1 boards, and I don't want to screw it up. So I'm using my version 1 chips that I have extra, and I'm going to try a couple methods. I'm going to try some soldering with a hoof tip and a reservoir tip and all this stuff and see if I can do it. Some people recommended that on the forum. And then I'm also going to do maybe squirt some solder paste with the syringe and put it in place with some tweezers, and maybe just use my heat gun and see how that method works, and which I feel most comfortable with. But then really once I'm done with the SOICs, it's again either those little tiny, what is it, 0806, or I don't know what the number is, but the tiny resistors or capacitors. I got to do those. Those are the most challenging parts. The SOIC and the little small resistors or caps. And then once those are done, it should be kind of straightforward shot of putting all the resistors and other larger capacitors. Just time putting those together. I've seen other people do like one voice card and then they power it up with one voice card and test it. Maybe I'll go that route. I don't know, maybe it's safer, so then you can figure out if you're screwing up a voice card before you go to all the rest. That may be a good choice. I think I am going to spend a little time researching, maybe like I saw somebody, like the guy that had the LED problems. I may have the same LED backward thing on the power card. I don't know. If so, maybe I'll just plug in the power card on its own and do those test points and make sure that my power card is outputting the right voltages before I plug anything in, and then maybe get some advice on the forum of if what I can do at this point to kind of test things before I plug something in, maybe critical points where I can blow something up and see if I could pre-test it before I apply voltage, something like that. That's what I'm thinking anyway. All right, I'm gonna leave it here. I'm tired. I'm gonna take a break. I don't want to keep pushing too hard and then start screwing up because I'm not thinking straight. All right, so long. See you guys next time.